fun. So then I finished writing it. So yeah. Sweet dreams this time when I close my eyes. I want them to be filled with someone other than you. High hopes always come crashing down in the end. But I guess if you want, we can play pretend. No, nothing ever changes, 'cause the days keep getting longer and the nights keep getting colder. You need to go back home, away, far away. Can't stay here anymore. There's not enough room for all your fake I love yous. For all your fake I love yous. Every time you lock the door, it sounds like secrets. What are you hiding from me? Maybe I'm paranoid. Maybe I'm looking into something that's not really there. But you know, trusting too much is a thing. And I don't want to be someone who lets it all slide past them. You need to go back home, away, far away. Can't stay here anymore. There's not enough room for all your fake I love yous. For all your fake I love yous. There you are, standing perfect in all your shades of blue. And there you are, asking me to come back, but I don't want to. You need to go back home, away, far away. Can't stay here anymore. There's not enough room, never room. You need to go back home, away, far away. Can't stay here anymore. There's not enough room, never room for all your fake I love yous. For all your fake I love you. For all your fake I love you. This next song is called Fantasy. I wrote it a couple years ago.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to tonight's virtual blended meeting of the Southwestern City School District Board of Education. The Ohio Legislature approved emergency legislation to allow school district boards of education to conduct meetings by teleconference or video conference, providing the meeting can also be observed by the general public. In order to comply with this requirement, tonight's meeting is being broadcast live via Zoom and also on the district's YouTube channel. Having received confirmation that the video is streaming correctly, Southwestern City School District Board of Education President, Mrs. Kathy Johnson, will now call the meeting to order.
Thank you for attending tonight's virtual blended meeting of the Southwestern City School District Board of Education. While the agenda will be visible during the meeting for those watching online, you may also follow along using the agenda posted on our website at www.swcsd.us under the Board of Education tab. Please note that tonight's meeting may not run perfectly, but we are doing our best to keep things running smoothly. Now I'd like to call the March 22nd, 2021 meeting to order. Roll call.
Mr. Caldwell.
Here.
Mr. Donofrio.
Here.
Mr. Ragland.
Here.
Mr. Schreiner.
Here.
Ms. Johnson.
Here. Before continuing with our agenda, I would like to thank Sadie Storts from Central Crossing High School for providing the music that we enjoyed prior to the start of tonight's meeting. Now we'll move on with the adoption of the agenda.
I'll move it. Schreiner.
Thank you.
Second, Donofrio.
Thank you. Any additions or changes? Seeing none, roll call.
Mr. Schreiner.
Yes.
Mr. Donofrio.
Yes.
Mr. Caldwell.
Yes.
Mr. Ragland.
Yes.
Ms. Johnson.
Yes. Moving now to the minutes of the March 8th, 2021 meeting. We need a motion.
Motion Ragland.
Thank you. A second.
Second, Anthony Caldwell.
Okay. Are there any changes for those minutes? Seeing none, roll call.
Mr. Ragland.
Yes.
Mr. Caldwell.
Yes.
Mr. Donofrio.
Yes.
Mr. Schreiner.
Yes.
Ms. Johnson.
Yes. And now we will have Mike Dingledine with an update on the middle school construction.
Okay, thanks everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Good. All right, so we're going to do a brief update on the middle school construction progress. I'm going to hit all the projects that are in progress right now, but obviously spend the most time on the new middle schools. We're under construction now with everything, so that's pretty exciting. Just want to touch the East Franklin project. This is our last effort to go into that project. We have just finalized the furniture bids for all new furniture to be installed this summer. And so we're working with the furniture supplier now to provide delivery dates and installation dates for all of that. But again, it'll be over the summer this year. But the entire building gets new furniture. The one piece that we backed off of was cafeteria tables because they were purchased in the last few years. So everything else you'll see throughout the building, all the blue you see on this drawing will be new furniture, including the two portable classrooms as well. So it'll be a brand new school finally, piece by piece, but still a fantastic save from the standpoint of creating something from what the state would have considered nothing. And I think it's really, really cool. In fact, this is a OSBA lecture at some point in the future about how to save an old school and repurpose it. Our furniture standards are exactly the same as we used for the 15 elementaries. So this is going to be just one more, the same furniture choices, the same diversity, the same specialty items that you see in the elementary schools you will see at East Franklin. So I'm matching Mr. Caldwell's background right now.
That's good.
Jackson Middle
It's a
School.
very comfortable space, I can attest.
Jackson Middle School, we just got bids. We had really good participation, 11 bidders. And as you would expect with that much participation, we were under budget. And so we're feeling good about moving this project forward. We had some little additional space to meet all the requirements of the School Facilities Commission. You can see the classroom addition and wireframe on the right, and on the on the left, and on the right is the multi-purpose addition to the gymnasium. And then you can see that we've created some additional seating in the gymnasium for additional capacity to bring that above student capacity. So we're excited about getting everything we were looking to get and get it done. Everything is going to match material-wise to the existing Jackson. We have so pretty good sizable addition to the south here for the classrooms. And then the south view of it, we're putting a new covered walkway from the bus drop-off into the school as part of this addition. And so we're feeling good about that being on budget, on task, on time. The 4 new middle schools, we're about 6 months past our end of design. And so it's looking back at it, it's pretty interesting that everything we've talked about and done, we've confirmed more and again with folks in the district. And in fact, last week we had furniture meetings with all the departments at the middle school level for all the new furniture that'll be coming toward the end of this year. A couple images of our overall design. Again, this is Pleasant View south of Bolton Crossing as our example, but you can see everything that we went out for bid with is pretty much bought out. We have a handful of packages left to buy out, but it looks like, again, we're going to be substantially under our GMP, not substantially under our budget, unfortunately, but certainly below where the GMPs were at mid-year. And again, I think the explanation for that is we're getting lots of interest and lots of participation. And so high participation usually means more competitive bids. And that is certainly what we're seeing as we look through these. Looking back at some of the things 6 months later, I think we were pushed by the staff to be more innovative than I expected. Usually you pull the staff along as an architect, but here the staff was very comfortable telling us what they thought new middle schools should look like. And we've done some things that I think are very innovative, especially some large and small extended learning areas beyond this traditional classroom that we have. This is that large 100-seat sort of lecture room, professional development room, whatever we can think of it. And again, the furniture choices and design decisions we made were very much driven by staff. These are the smaller, but not too small, of these breakout rooms in between classrooms. There's 8 of these in each of the middle schools, and they can hold 8 to 10 to 12 students in a breakout situation outside of the classroom. And again, they're embedded in the classroom wing. They're very close. They're very supervisable, but they are unique spaces. And then we have here a picture of kind of the main stairs. You come up, the art display on the left, the media center on the right, very big open hallways. Again, I think the one takeaway we learned from Jackson was to make sure the throughput, the flow size of the hallways and things were adequate. And so we bumped that up a bit, and you can see that as you look through. Media center, very much like the public library, the breakout rooms in there as well. And so there are 6-person breakout rooms, there are 8 to 12-person breakout rooms, and then there's a 100-person breakout room in each of these middle schools that aren't traditional classrooms. And we like that innovation. So settled with colors, settled with some design issues at the end. And again, we are on track to continue and go ahead with our auxiliary gyms, which is another really innovative thing for a middle school to have an auxiliary gym. We're under construction on all 4 sites. The 2 blue sites are Summit construction. The 2 red sites are Russilli construction. Each of these folks has a tight infill build, and each of them have a greenfield build. So it's interesting to watch how they're progressing. And I will say they have cooperated immensely to share what they've learned and what they're doing and how they're doing it from each other. And it feels like even with 3 different construction entities in our project, we have one team. And that's a really big takeaway, I think, for what we did and how we did it. This is a Norton site. It's our tightest site, and we are building right between an active Prairie Norton and an active Norton Middle School, but we're doing it very well. This is our sample tilt-up panel for our gym wing, where we have the precast panels made here locally in Grove City. Pretty excited about that being part of this project. In the past week, these were taken Monday a week ago. We've made a huge progress on slabs. We had all the underground footings done. We have all the underground utilities done. We're starting with some masonry walls with the mason, but the general trades contractor was able to get started on slab work at all the sites. And I would say that the CMs are focusing on Norton and Finland with a little bit of extra focus because they're the ones that have to be finished in time to make the transition with the demolition of the 2 existing middle schools. And so real good work going on, really interesting, bringing a huge pumper truck in for slabs. Usually that's just sort of dumped out of the back of a a concrete truck, but they're doing it with some more expensive equipment to get better quality and to get better timeframes. And so when they show up in the morning, they end up, pouring 20–30% of the slab for the whole building in a day. Here's some of the areas the slab hasn't caught up with yet. These are some of the internal hallway connections between the classroom wing and the administration wing. You can see the complexity of the foundations and footings. Lots of steel going up, lots of electric going up out of the ground. And again, you can see how close we are in proximity to the other buildings. This is the main hallway looking from the classroom wing down toward the gym wing. Again, this is the center of the building, so to speak, and we're just barely north of the existing Norton. Here's that same image, basically looking at the computer model instead of the site. We have temporary lakes, temporary water control on all the sites. We have stockpiling of topsoil on all the sites. And again, the tight sites have required that we do the retention instead of detention because we don't have a lot of area to retain water. But these are temporary and they're planned to go away when we're done, with the exception of Pleasant View. There is a permanent retention pond there, which I'll show you. We have very clean, very organized sites, good laydown spaces, and everything is fenced off from school operations, be it the neighbors around all these sites. This is Finland. This is the Russilli project of the Infill. Again, we have 3 schools around here that we're operating within. They've got everything laid out well. They're about in the same exact position as Norton is. These are the footing reinforcement cages that they pre-made and had shipped to the site. They've laid them all out in order and in the right place on paved surface. And so they've got everything very well organized. And so things are going very quickly. From the time I was there taking a picture like this, by the afternoon, they were putting the plastic down to pour the slabs. So they're making very, very good progress. They're keeping the sites very organized. Again, you can see our proximity to neighbors is pretty tight, but also other schools. This is the center core of the school, again, where the elevator and classroom wing and administration wing kind of join. Here looking south in the main hallway, you can see Finland Elementary. Looking to the west, you can see Franklin Woods Intermediate. And looking to the east, you can see the existing Finland. That will be where our new football stadium will end up when we're done. Pleasant View is a greenfield site, much more space, much easier to operate, but we also have more to control. We have more dirt disturbed. We have more water and storm runoff. So the first thing that Summit did was create really nice storm control and water control around the perimeter of the entire site. There's additional construction going on around us, but we don't want to be pushing dirty water or anything back and forth on the sites. And they've created this really nice area where they control all the runoff to the south of the site. And looking north, you can see Bolton Crossing. This is, again, the center of the building, pretty much, well, maybe closer to the gym. This is the mat of slab reinforcing. Again, they're going through a pile of this kind of reinforcing a day because they're pouring so many square feet of slab as we go through. This is the main hallway at Pleasant View. This is the electric room. All that underground electric is distributed throughout the entire site. It's underground through the entire building, and the electricians have it all popped up where it needs to be so they can pour the slabs, and it all returns to this very dense location. Interesting thing over here I noticed this afternoon looking at this, there's a little house of plastic where they kept the block warm. So on the cold days that we had a few weeks ago, they were able to use block that was the right temperature to work well with the mortar. So they're being very careful with the weather and taking advantage of time. This is our generator yard where our generator and our chillers will be. Again, those are full height walls around it, so they won't be visible and they won't be very noisy from the standpoint of neighbors and the school itself. They'll be enclosed. See some of the residential construction south of this school. A little break in the wall where we can see the proximity to Bolton. Across the street view of Holt Crossing. And now we are at Brook Park, the biggest site and the most interesting site. And in fact, one of the sites I was most concerned about because of runoff. We have lots of residential neighbors. We have lots of new construction to the north of us in Beulah Park. And one of our first efforts at this site was a 200-foot box culvert that spans the area that accesses the football field. The most important thing is not to see this muddy and full of sediment. Sorry, that's the word, sediment. And as you can see it close up, the water is crystal clear. This is a huge yes, thumbs up for Russilli, making sure that the filtration and the riprap and the installation of the underground drainage was done at the right time and with the right protection. And you can see here, it's just crystal clear water running through this. And this is a blue line stream. This is, controlled by USGS. And so it's something that we have to be very, very careful that we're doing right, and they have. And it goes 200 feet across this site and allows us to access our football field, which is there. Really surprising how open we are now to Grove City Road and how prominent this building will be. It kind of felt like it was going to be a building inside a very unique site, but now it's going to have a really huge open southern exposure, which I think will be impressive as you drive out Grove City Road. Here, these footers are going in place. Big elevator, putting here slabs being poured. Again, they hadn't started when I got there. By the time I left, they're pouring concrete, so they are really on it. Underground utilities getting put in right ahead of the slab work. This is the masonry reinforcing. All of it's on site. The masonry is on site. And again, it's being temperature controlled, and they're able to put up as much masonry as the mason crew can do in a day. This is a really impressive effort. There's a huge protection fence around this tree, and it's all the way out to the drip line of the tree. It's not just around the trunk of the tree. This is a huge, I think, save in terms of the sort of character of this site to have this at least 120, 130-year-old tree stay as part of this new school site. And I know Grove City asked us to be very careful with it, and Russilli's done a great job of protecting it. Another thing I'm impressed about, they put down the base paving everywhere. That's another reason why I think the drainage is working so well. It's contractors are parking where they're supposed to be. There's places where architects can park and not get full of mud. And the runoff is amazing. This is a permanent retention basin that's in the corner of the site. And because of our blue line stream, we had to do something as deep as retention, but it's already green and crystal clear. And we're already controlling the quality and the quantity of the runoff at the site. So again, our neighbors that you see very close to us on all sides, they're being treated very well by the extra work that was done to make this appropriate early in the project. And then as you can see, the Beulah Park residential construction is encroaching right down to us. So it's coming up about the time this school is finished. We're going to see some serious development in that area around the old racetrack, which is impressive. And then this is looking from Grove City Road, and you can see how wide open the site's going to be. Where you see the yellow trucks, that's going to be the building. And here's the box culvert. That's the top end of the football field. And in our foreground here will be the field and the track and the rest of that outdoor site development. So really impressive view, I think, that I didn't expect, not knowing how much demolition might take place at the south end of the site. Our last effort was all last week. We met with the departments and talked about furniture. Again, we showed them lots of examples of what's being done, but they actually pushed us to be innovative, and they understood things about budget and choices between the highest end and the economical end, and we made a lot of good choices. And again, we haven't finalized our furniture decisions, but we got to show all the staff, all the pieces and parts that make up the furniture for a new building. That includes the new furniture at Jackson as well. Again, classroom furniture is pretty much following where we've been at the high school level at Franklin Heights, but all these small group rooms and teacher prep rooms and large rooms, they're actually looking at very different furniture. And so conference type of furniture, some soft seating, some adjustable furniture, these really cool whiteboards that roll around and actually divide the room up into different sections. And again, we're very pleased at the innovation push that the teachers have given us. And then the media center can be lots of this kind of furniture as well, where we're looking at areas where kids can be more comfortable working on their Chromebooks or reading in our media center space. So that's an update. It takes us from probably last fall to this spring. Again, everything's working well, it's on time. And I'm very pleased with the construction operations, especially the three entities working together so well. When I was out there, I saw people from Summit on Russilli's site, and I saw the folks from Gilbane on both sites. And so they're working together very well and making some really good decisions about what and how they're doing it. So any questions I can certainly answer.
I'll highlight a couple things while you think through the questions. As Mike said, bid day savings aren't all the way in yet, but numbers look good for bid day savings. We also have contingency dollars in the project that we build in, as well as aid to construction. And so we're pretty comfortable. As you move further and along and get out of the dirt, so to say, your chance of unforeseens start to diminish significantly. And so we've been very blessed with very minimal issues as far as compaction rates and a variety of things there. So we're pleased and we're comfortable with where the project's at. The next big push is to make sure that we're essentially fully enclosed before winter hits. And then that'll give them approximately 8 months to do the inside. I don't know if you want to elaborate, but that's pretty much where we're at.
Right. And they've made decisions to make sure that happens.
Any questions for Mr. Dingledine?
I was just going to say, incredibly impressive work, and it's a true joy to just drive around and see the speed that everything is going, and it's just beautifully done, top to bottom. Every detail just seems so well thought out. So thank you so much.
And very much a team effort. There's so many people in the district who are instrumental in making things happen. And again, the entities that are all working together are our consultants and the construction folks. It's just really a team effort, and it's, you know, like we've been here before, and it's obviously shows.
Okay. Seeing no other comments, thank you, Mike. I always enjoy listening to your updates.
Thank you.
Moving now to items for action. First, curriculum with Mr. Caldwell.
Thank you, President Johnson. Good evening, everyone. And thank you for the great presentation also. Tonight on the agenda for curriculum, we have one action item, and it is the recommendation for the Board of Education to approve plans for our summer school programs as detailed on the screen. I move this item for passage.
Second, Shriner.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Caldwell,
Yes.
Mr. Shriner,
Yes.
Mr. Donofrio,
Yes.
Mr. Ragland,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson.
Yes. Moving now to facilities development, Mr. Donofrio.
Thank you, President Johnson. Good evening, everyone. And as you've seen, it's a very exciting time for facilities. We have two items for action in facilities development that were alluded to. First, a resolution to award general contracting agreement for the renovation and addition of Jackson Middle School to Action Contractors in the amount of $4,415,638. And second, to approve the construction documents phase submission for Jackson Middle School's project as presented by our contractors, subject to the approval of the Ohio Facilities Construction Commission. Having reviewed these items, I recommend their passage and move to do so at this time.
Okay. We need a second.
Second, Shriner.
Thank you, Mr. Shriner. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Mr. Donofrio.
Yes.
Mr. Shriner,
Yes.
Mr. Caldwell,
Yes.
Mr. Ragland,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson.
Yes. Moving now to personnel with Mr. Ragland.
Thank you, President Johnson. On the board agenda this evening are 7 personnel items involving 55 persons. This includes 7 certificated and administrative resignations, 1 administrative employment, 3 certificated changes in employment status, 30 certificated employments, 8 classified resignations, 5 classified changes in employment status, and 1 classified employment. And after review of these items, I do recommend them for passage.
And we'll need a second.
Second, Anthony Caldwell.
Thank you, Mr. Caldwell. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Mr. Ragland,
Yes.
Mr. Caldwell,
Yes.
Mr. Donofrio.
Yes.
Mr. Shriner,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson.
Yes. Next, are there any board items for discussion? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Caldwell. We need a second.
Second, Ragland.
Thank you. Roll call.
Mr. Caldwell,
Yes.
Mr. Ragland,
Yes.
Mr. Donofrio.
Yes.
Mr. Shriner,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson.
Yes, and thank you all for coming tonight. Stay safe.